a relaxing room on the property. It's quite beautiful with a fireplace and fans and all the luxuries that you could ask for. Very fortunate to have what I have. I want to share with you an experience, um, some experiences from my life relative to female nature and how it can work for itself in a way in which is evil. Now, I seem to be seeing things as I go along in a new light now, but what I'm experiencing is things that I can add to what I already know about the behavior of women when it goes bad. Not all women, but when women go bad. Now, many of you know that due to covert emotional incest, my marriage ended. I called an end to it. It was too much. Um, it was too intrusive and too offensive. And what ended up happening was the usual separation stuff, and it went relatively well, toing and froing, and all that business that goes with it, stubbornness and ghosting and not answering calls and all this type of thing. Other men. And when the dust blew over after about 5 or 6 months, um, we began to talk again. We were talking along, but it wasn't very comfortable. Um, and she would pop up whenever she needed reassurance or um, to reevaluate herself or to make herself feel reassured. And I found this to be hard to deal with because the ferocity of some of the exchanges that we had was so bad that I couldn't understand why this person would still want to be in touch with me or talk with me. Or even now, we've gotten to nearly, well, over 12 months now since separation. She wants to come back. Now, there's some very interesting insights that I've watched during the course of this because usually when people go through a marriage breakup, they don't normally, for the most part, talk again. But that's a matter of how well you know forgiveness or how well you need forgiveness. But somehow or other, I managed to be able to keep relationships with these people that things don't work out with. So she met another man, and there's a great big long story to this part of it, which I don't want to go into now, but I have in other videos. And the first complaint was his masculinity. Well, that wasn't my problem or my business, but I took notice of what she said. And what she would do, she would come fishing around for my masculinity as a supplement to the lack of the other man's. But that's all it was. That's all she was doing. She was making up a supplement for the lack in the other man. Now, I had to stop and ask myself, how far can resentment and bitterness drive a person away from that which is good? or conflict with her son not performing in the house and being confronted in such a way as it triggered her maternally. And when you trigger someone maternally, you've got a whole different dynamic that you've got to deal with. And as a matter of fact, you really can't deal with it because once a woman's maternally triggered and goes into maternal defenses, all rationale, all rationale is gone. Believe me, I've seen it. But it's only for a certain duration of time. They eventually come back out of it. So we get to the other side of all, and the ex-wife decides that she wants to come back. Now, this was profound to me because she still had the other man and all the stuff that comes with that. And when you listen to her story about that, the grass is definitely not greener on the other side. But they persevere. See, women will tolerate whatever they can get. And she kept fishing around. Now, she wasn't telling the other man any of this. And I had every opportunity to be intimate or whatever I'd like to have been, but you've got to be careful how you deal with these things. And what I was seeing was a side of this person, whilst innocent on the surface, and whether she was aware of it or not, was very immoral and very cunning underneath. But I don't think she was aware of how evil and cunning she was actually being. Because remember, I said she used to try and supplement the lack of the new man by coming and drawing on my masculinity. And I was aware of this. But by this time, I'd met a nice lady myself. I didn't want to be on my own. And I'd been to try and recover whatever I could and had all the counselling I could have asked for. And I met a nice lady, and away we went. Now, while all this is going on, the ex-wife's mind has decided that she needs me to come back. Now, this is after she's tried to wipe out the estate. Beautiful estate. This is only part of the property, which we managed to salvage. She demoralised herself and our family. I'm not saying this woman's a bad person. I'm just saying this is what the impacts can be. She pursued what she wanted to pursue in way of leisure and all the rest of it on her own. And she still had this magnetic draw that would draw her back to me. I can't understand what this is, but it was. And this was after her maternal defenses had simmered down and dissipated. I forget what they call it, but I think it's called positive effect or something. After a period of time, people forget about the bad things and remember the good things. I forget what they call it. But anyway, so last night I had to see her. I went and seen her, and we're sitting there talking at her place, and the phone rings. I'm just trying to show you something, and the phone rings, and it's the boyfriend. And I said, would you like to take that call? And she goes, oh, no, I won't take that call right now, indicating that she wasn't comfortable speaking to him on the phone while I was there. For two reasons. Number one, it wouldn't put her in good stead with him if he found out. Number two, she wasn't sure what it would be like to talk to him on the phone with me there. But the fact of the matter was, I was there. and she wasn't going to let this man know. And if you think about it for a minute, just think about it for a minute, there's no regard for the boyfriend. None. Because if it was my girlfriend, I would not put myself in a position like that. And I most certainly would not hide it from her on the other. So what am I trying to say? These are the sort of people that you want to be very careful around, because I don't know whether there's something missing or what's going on with her, because she was asking me to come back as well, and I'm not going back. I said it's not a good idea for your family or for my family. There's been too much water under the bridge. You can't. No, because I'd be frightened that it all would happen again. Because there were chances for resolve, but that resolve was not willing to be found. Now everything's past and time's past, and all the damage and um, collateral damage ripple effect damage that's taken place as a result of this. Just because it's all settled down like it hasn't happened, it did happen. It was catastrophic, and we got off light. So that's why I couldn't find a way to. She's got me sitting in. He didn't matter at the time. It just puts fear in me to think that, you know, these are the possibilities that women. She's got always on the outside of the relationship. It only takes 20 minutes to call in for a booty call to to appease the resentment and bitternesses that they may have towards you as their partner. You ring and the phone don't answer. I mean, this last night sort of got me a little bit insecure, to be honest, in the sense that if the phone don't answer, and it should have, is everything okay? You know, are we in order? And the problem is when you start dealing with behavior that's immoral, you're never going to get a straight answer, and you're never going to get an honest direction. You more or less have to wait till these people are caught out, and then the truth comes out. Isn't that a beautiful coffee table and lounge? So we need to be sober, and we need to be aware, and we need to apply ourselves the right way with integrity and moral and application in our relationship. Because tossing people to and fro and making people your convenience to meet your end, it's not very fair, and it's not very nice. It's evil. And, you know, it'd be a lot easier for everybody instead of having all these complicated psychological names and psychiatric names, just to call evil what it is. This is Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist, New South Wales, Australia. Bye for now.